Today I'll be discussing on the laws relating to protection of women against violence under IPC, that is Indian Penal Code. The last lecture I have discussed the laws that there are various laws for the protection of women against violence, and they are enshrined under the Constitution and the various other laws under the special laws and also under the IPC, the CRPC, the Indian Evidence Act. Today I'll be discussing on the protection which is available to a woman under which are discussed under IPC, that is Indian Penal Code. Women are considered to be very weaker sex, not only from the physical aspects but from sociological aspects too. Women are victims of crimes such as rape, murder, robbery, cheating, etc. And there are various classification of offences against women under IPC, or you can say there are various laws for the protection of women against violence. One by one I'll be discussing on it. The very first classification is of rape. Section 375, it defines very properly what is the meaning of rape, and it provides the circumstances, the very 7 circumstances under which it falls in the category of rape. A man is said to commit rape if he penetrates his penis to any extent into the vagina, mouth, urethra, or anus of a woman, or makes her to do so with him or any other person. And under the various circumstances falling under any of the following 7 descriptions which is mentioned under section 375. Firstly, it should be against her will. Second, without her consent. Third, with her consent when her consent has been obtained by putting her or any other person in whom she is interested in fear of death or hurt. Fourthly, with her consent when the man knows that he is not her husband and that her consent is given because she believes that he is another man to whom she is or is believe herself to be lawfully married. Fifthly, with her consent when at the time of giving such consent by reason of unsoundness of mind or intoxication or administration by him personally or through another of any stupefying or unwholesome substance, she is unable to understand the nature and the consequence of that to which she gives consent. Sixthly, with or without her consent when she is under 18 years of age. Seventhly, when she is unable to communicate consent. So these are under 7 circumstances where a man is said to commit rape. And there are various explanation which is provided under section 375. That is, explanation 1, it provides that vagina shall also include labia majora. Explanation 2, the consent means an unequivocal voluntary agreement when the woman by words, gestures, or any form of verbal or non-verbal communication communicates willingness to participate in the specific sexual act, provided that a woman who does not physically resist to the act of penetration shall not by reason only of that fact be regarded as consenting to the sexual activity. And there are exceptions also as provided under section 375. Exception 1 is that a medical procedure or intervention shall not be constitute rape. Exception 2 is that sexual intercourse or sexual acts by a man with his own wife, the wife not being under 15 years of age, is not rape. Now you can see that there are essential ingredients of section 375. That is, there must be a sexual intercourse with a woman by a man. Such sexual intercourse should be under any of the following circumstances, that is, against her will, without her consent, with consent obtained under fear of death or hurt, with consent given under a misconception of fact that the man is her husband. Consent was given by reason of unsoundness of mind, intoxication, or under influence of any stupefying or unwholesome substance, with women under 16 years of age with or without consent. So you can see that these are certain essential ingredients for constituting rape. Now, section 376, which is the most important law which is available for the protection of women, and that is a punishment for rape. It tells that any person, except in the cases which is provided under subsection 2 of section 375, if he commits rape, he shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment of either description for a term which shall not be less than 7 years. It may extend to imprisonment for life and shall also be liable to fine. But, as I have said you that, except in the cases provided in subsection 2, it provides that, clause 2 provides that if whoever being a police officer who commits rape within the limits of the police station to which such police officer is appointed, or in the premises of any station house, or on a woman in such police officer's custody, or in a custody of a police officer subordinate to such police officer, or being a public servant commits rape on a woman in such public servant's custody, or in the custody of a public servant subordinate to such public servant, or being a member of the armed forces deployed in an area by the central or state government commits rape in such area, or the man being on the management on the staff of a jail, remand home, or other place of custody established by or under any law for the time being in force of a woman or children's institution commits rape on any inmate of such jail, remand home, place or institution, or being on, if there is a management, hospital management or staff, it commits rape on a woman in that hospital, or being a relative, guardian, or teacher, or a person in position of a trust or authority towards the woman, it commits rape on such woman, or commits a rape during communal violence, or on a woman knowing her to be a pregnant, or when she is under 16 years of age, when she is unable to give the consent, being in a position of control or dominance over a woman commits rape, or on a woman suffering from mental or physical disability, or while committing rape causes grievous bodily harm or maims or disfigures or endangers the life of a woman, the punishment is given. It's provided that he shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 10 years, but which may be extended to imprisonment for life, which shall mean imprisonment for the remainder of that person's natural life, and it shall also be liable to fine. Now, you see the next provision under the rape, and that is section 376A, and which is available for a woman, and that is punishment for causing death or resulting in persistent vegetative state of victim. As I think so, you have already heard about the Nirbhaya gang rape case, and this was inserted only after that particular incident. You can see there have been criminal law amendment in 2013, and now the punishment is available to a person who commits rape and causes that or results in a persistent vegetative state. So as per section 376A, whoever commits an offense punishable under subsection 1 or subsection 2 of section 376, and in course of such commission he inflicts an injury which causes the death of the woman, or it causes the woman to be in a persistent vegetative state, shall be punished. What is the punishment? It shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment, and which shall not be less than 20 years, but which may extend to imprisonment for life, or which shall mean imprisonment for the remainder of that person's natural life or with death. Now, the next provision, and that is section 376B, sexual intercourse by husband upon his wife during separation. See, this is one of the protections which is available to a woman. Now, suppose a wife and a husband, they are living in judicial separation. They are separately living, and whoever has sexual intercourse with his, and it is provided, see, whoever has sexual intercourse with his own wife who is living separately, whether under a decree of separation or otherwise, without her consent, shall be punished with imprisonment, which shall not be less than 2 years, but it may extend to 7 years, and it shall also be liable to fine. The next provision is that, which is available to a woman, is that sexual intercourse by person in authority. Now, those persons who are in authority, that is, who are having in a position of an authority or a fiduciary relationship, or a public servant, or a manager of the jail, remand home, or other place in custody, or a woman or children's institution, or the management of the hospital, they shall be punishment if they commit sexual intercourse or rape. They will be punished with a rigorous imprisonment which shall not be less than 5 years, but which may extend to 10 years, and shall also be liable to fine. Now, one of the most prominent sections, section 376D, which tells you about the gang rape. When a woman is raped by one or more persons constituting a group or acting in furtherance of a common intention, each of these persons shall be deemed to have committed the offense of rape, and shall be punished with occur imprisonment, and it shall not be less than 20 years, but which may extend to life, which shall mean imprisonment for the remainder of that person's natural life and also with fine. And provided that such fine shall be just and reasonable to meet the medical expenses and rehabilitation of the victim. If provided further that any fine imposed under this section shall be paid to the victim. Next, which falls in the category of rape, is that is provided under section 376E, and that is punishment for repeat offenders. Whoever has been previously convicted of an offense punishable under section 376 or 376A or 376D and is subsequently convicted of an offense punishable under any of the said sections shall be punished with imprisonment for life, which shall mean imprisonment for the remainder of that person's natural life or death.